Buenos nachos, buenos nachos, buenos nachos. What it is, what it was, and what it shall be. What's going on, everybody? Y'all strapped in today? Woo! Gotta blow some cookies today. Brothers and sisters, this is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master Teacher 33. And today's Freaky Friday. It has been a Freaky Friday for me. Freaky Friday, May the 27th, 2022. And the time is 2 p.m. Central Time. As always, brothers and sisters, let's jump right in. We want to talk about the secret society of the light. Now, there is no such thing yet, but we're getting ready to get it popping. We're going to start our own secret society. It's a secret society that's not a secret society, but we're going to make it one. Today's message is lit. Today's message is light. It is lit and it is light. Light, not as in light. Look at the phonics and the phonetics of what we're going to be talking about today, because hooked on phonics did not work for me. And so I like to joke around and have fun. That's just who I am. I ain't changing for nobody, but at the same time, I like to take care of business. I can't do cold creator, so I only got one level. I'm on the level where there is no devil. No more settling for less than operating in God's best. And that goes for each and every one of us on today's call. The language of light. Everybody has their own language that operates their light, that makes you light, and that allows you to be light and allows you to see in the light. So when we talk about this secret society of the light, there really isn't no such thing, but we're going to make it one. So we're going to start our own secret society. It's going to be the secret society of the light. In order to be a member of the secret society, you got to be light. So we want to break that down today. We're going to talk about the language of light. Now, everybody, we go through stages of evolution in our consciousness and in our awareness. You can't please everybody. That is not your job. Your job is to exude light. Now, unfortunately, there are going to be light keepers. The light keepers are those people in your family and your friends. They want to keep your light because they don't have their own. So the light keepers are not bad people. They don't know that they are light too. That's why they hang around you. Let me say this again, it's very important. It's like in the movie when, which one was it? I think it was it Doctor Strange? And no, it was actually the recent Matrix movie, the one that just came out. And Trinity was on another timeline, or she had forgotten that she was Trinity. Remember, she was married, she had kids, and Neo comes back into her life. And Neo is trying to get her to remember that, hey, that guy you with, that's not your boo-boo. You married to him and you got kids in him, but that's an illusion to keep you in the dark. A lot of people, the people that you are with, they are not bad people. They are extensions of the matrix to occupy your time, to steal God's design. Now, they are being used by the dark. They are not necessarily dark themselves, meaning that they didn't wake up and say, oh, I'm just going to marry you, such a life out of you. No. There are some handlers. There are some controllers. And there are some wipers. You, in fact, may be a handler, you may be a controller, or you may be a wiper yourself. The way that you can tell if you are a handler or a controller or a wiper, and remember, I used to be one of these. And the people that handle, control, and wipe other people were themselves handled, controlled, and wiped. When I was born into this dimension, I came into this world, and I was raised by a very high-ranking witch. Now, my mom was like me. She was a six. My mom was remember, my mom was 10, 15 years older than my biological father. My biological father was at least 5 inches shorter than my biological mom. My biological mom was very light-skinned, very tall. My biological father was very dark and very short. On paper, there's no way in hell those two should have even been together. The way the story goes, my biological father was the only guy that, my biological father and on my father's side of the family, they come from money. Now, my biological mom's family come from money too, but not like my father. When I say they had assets, it's funny because we never knew this as children. The way the story goes, my father used to always come and get his hair cut by my grandfather, which is my mother's father. And he would always notice my mom. In fact, my father said he noticed my mom, and he purposely would drive out of his way to go and have my grandfather, his name was Henry Frazier, cut his hair. Just to see, just to get a glimpse, because he was already married. Remember my biological mother, I got family, I don't know how many kids she had. Right now, I counted 30 kids that my stepfather, which was the man that was married to my biological mother before she married my father, he was 7'5". My father was 5'5". How my mother went from 7'5" to 5'5", that's a whole other study at another time. What is the point? The point is, my biological father was and is a very interesting man, because even though we had no relationship, he really helped me understand that the person who was able to handle, control, and wipe my mom's memories was a dark soul, which is why he hated religion. And he told me, boy, which again, I'm assuming that's the only name that he knew, I do not do that religious shit. You and your mama and all y'all Fraziers, he was a Rogers, she was a Frazier. She told him that I don't do that. And he explained why, because he told me how she changed from the woman that she was before she had her consciousness wiped. The way that you wipe a consciousness as a brain is with a very dark, traumatic event, which brings about what they call MK Ultra or trauma bonding. Now, for the sake of time, because remember, this is really the introduction to what we're going to be doing probably in a week or so when we start the Secret Society of the Light. And I start, number one, breaking down all of what they have today, where there are 8 secret societies in existence today. All of the secret societies that exist today, they operate on a frequency that has what is called the moral effect of Freemasonry, the Knights of Labor. That's based upon the Greek alphabet and the Hebrew alphabet. So nobody knows that the Greek alphabet has 22 letters. The Greek alphabet controls the 22 amino acids in the body. So the way that I control an alkebulan or a non-alkebulan, if I was a Dark Lord, well, first of all, I would have to handle the word Hebrew means Hebrew, he who brews, or he who crosses over. So I got to translate you from light to dark, or as the Bible says, I got to translate you out of darkness into the marvelous light. So I was able to find a path to translate myself out of darkness into the marvelous light, which is what I want to teach you, which is the whole purpose of. But this knowledge is dangerous because you cannot translate someone out of darkness into the marvelous light unless that person, they're like in the Matrix, you cannot unplug somebody from the Matrix, they'll die. Now, as I will be explaining in the private message of the secret society of the light, which is language, because language activates your light. So language is not language. Language is actually light codes. These light codes, and again, the dominant culture knows this. So to be able to translate, because you got to understand the ability to understand the bringer of darkness. It's a Latin phrase, and that's in the ancient text. Let me see if I can find it. Laetor tenebrarum. Laetor tenebrarum. Laetor tenebrarum. Laetor tenebrarum. Now, you don't really need to know that. But if you ever hear that anywhere, you might want to exit stage left. If you listen to the Vatican, when the cardinals gather, they sing a specific song in Latin. The word Lucifer in Latin is a very interesting word. Because the word Lucifer in Latin and the word Lucifer in English, when you hear the cardinals sing this song, and you really tune into what they're saying, you will hear this word inside of the song. Lucifer. Lucifer. So Lucifer is not an English word. Lucifer is actually a Latin phrase. So there when you hear them saying Latin words, blah, 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 and they would say, oh, Lucifer, Latin, brano, ton, and they go on and they keep singing this song in Latin. They are talking about the bringer of darkness. Now, darkness is not a thing. Darkness is the absence of a thing. There's only one thing that exists in the planet. That is light. That is God. That is abundance. So there cannot be. So if you are experiencing anything other than abundance, that means that you settled, like I did. That means that you chose because you didn't know, like I did. We all did. We settled for less instead of operating in God's best. We all did. That's why I'm establishing the society, the secret society of the light. So that way we can all oscillate in God's best instead of settling for Lucifer's flesh. So, but you still have a choice, though. You have to be a part of, you don't have to operate in the language of light. You could continue, because the beautiful thing about the big G, he, she, it don't force nobody to do shit. You're a grown ass man. You can continue to settle for less. But less is always Lucifer. So Lucifer is really not a thing. Lucifer is the absence of a thing. It's like darkness is not a thing. Darkness is the absence of a thing. Just like a pothole is not a thing. A pothole is the absence of dirt. It's not a thing. It's the absence of a thing. So disease is not a thing. Disease is the absence of a thing. Poverty is not a thing. Poverty is the absence of a thing. Ignorance is not a thing. Ignorance is the absence of a thing. Ignorance is the absence of knowledge. Get knowledge, ignorance goes away. Same thing with darkness. So Lucifer he's the bringer of settling. And he used coping mechanisms to get you to settle. So in order for you to settle, again, for Lucifer's less, you have to ignore God's best. So God's best is what you and I call light. Lucifer's less is what you and I call dark. So the demons and the devils and all the shit that make, those things actually, if over time, do you know if you hold a negative habit pattern in your brain over a long period of time, that negative habit pattern becomes a tupa. Now, I've done many shows on the tuba udder, or a tulpa. Now, that is like, again, a teratoma. I've done many shows on a teratoma. Terroromora. Now, you can Google a teratoma, and you can look it up, and we call it a cyst. But go to Google and type in terra, and then tomb. It's a tomb for terror. So you got to build it, though. You do this. You may have one right now. You go to the doctor and say, Jim Bob, we noticed that you have a cyst or a tumor the size of an apple, an orange, a quarter. We need to take out this tumor. It's very interesting that the medical science know that modern day demonology is yesterday's psychology. Now, the dominant culture, they know this. That's why the deities of sorcery are called doctors. If you look at the word doctor, it means deity. If you look at the word medicine, it means sorcery. So they are deities. They're gods of sorcery. Now, me and you, we just black folks down here trying to make a couple of dollars. Or, most of us black men, we're trying to get our rocks off. We ain't interested in all of this teratoma shit. We don't care about, all of this stuff. Especially the average black man under the age of 30. Remember, the light did not come on till I turned 50. Now, it's interesting because just like age is not a thing. Because there's no such thing as age. There's only eons. So you should ask yourself, well, shit, Doc, why do I age? Well, you age because you're using the languages of death. I've done many shows on the death codes. And I've told you guys what the death codes are. And I told you guys that one of the death codes that I unknowingly participated in with my daughter, Shimura. And these death codes are what is called retirement codes. One of them is placed inside of your body. It's called, again, Hebrews 6:1. When the Bible says that we're supposed to let us go on to perfection. So everybody on this call, you have the capacity, because it talks about this in Hebrews chapter 6, verse 1. And it tells us you're supposed to leave certain principles, certain frequencies, waves, and vibrations because they are dead. We all have dead books written by dead men to create dead people. So we need a living book written by a living God for living people. You are eternal. Just like I talked about, we just finished up with money. So money and spirituality is exactly the same. So money is, number one, it's indestructible. So are you. Money is eternal. So are you. Money is incorruptible. So are you. Money is immortal. So are you. Money is unchangeable. So are you. Money is victorious. So are you. And money is unlimited. So are you. So none of these attributes, characteristics, are usually exuded from any of us. We don't have those mental states. So my job is to assist you with establishing or turning on those mental dispositions. But in order to establish the new life, you got to leave the old one. But remember, this is all vibrational first. So you must hold it in your head before you ever can move your feet. So anybody that cannot move their feet, meaning that they're not holding it in their head. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the metaphysics, which is the whole point of today's message. So today's message says, let us therefore leave the basic teachings of Jesus Christ and Him crucified, where we get the word teleos or telomeres. So on the surface of your DNA has telomeres. Now, a telomere is a code. It's a death code. Somebody programmed you to die. So why would they do that? Well, if your ass stay on this planet long enough, you're going to figure this shit out like me. So the Dark Lords know that the light starts turning on after you've been on the planet for a while. So we're going to turn your light off before you get to the AEON, the eon or aeon, where you like start like asking questions. Now the average Negro is just doing fun, fighting, and procreation. They're like me. If you talk to the average black man, he ain't interested in nothing that is partying, if he's getting his rocks off, or he ready to fight. Step on his freaking, his Jordans, spill your drink on his Versace, try to take his Louis Vuitton, you're going to have a problem. The average Negro will fight over nothing. In fact, the Negro will shoot you over shit. You can look at him in the wrong way. Why? He ain't got shit to live for. So the death codes are, I can't see my way out. People ask me all the time. You know, most rich people, they can't explain because they're not psychologists. They're not neuroscientists. See, I understood science before I made any money. That's why I thank God that God always takes me through the experience of something before he gives me the knowledge of something. That way I can respect it. If you get something that's very valuable, but you don't know that it's valuable, remember, where purpose is not known, disrespect is inevitable. So if you get a thing, but you don't know the purpose of the thing, you're going to abuse the thing. If you get a thing, and you do not know the purpose of the thing, you are going to abuse the thing. There's a great story, Acres of Diamonds, where a guy, supposed to be a true story, he lived in Denver. He heard about the gold rush in California. So he sold his house and his property and his land in Denver. He moved to California. They said that the man caught whatever disease it was back then when it was out there digging for gold in California, and he died. The guy who purchased his house in Denver went into his backyard, and he noticed that the guy had these big-ass rocks all over his house. He used it to prop open his door. He had one on top of his fireplace. He had one to hold open his window. He had these big-ass stones all through his house that he dug up in his backyard. The guy dusted off one of these stones, cracked it, moved out, found out that those stones were big-ass chunks of gold. So supposedly, the story is called Acres of Diamonds. You should, it's by my boy Norman Vincent Peale. One of the greatest stories that I listened to, I think when I was like 18. Shit changed my life. The dude sold his house, had acres of diamonds in his backyard, didn't know what the hell he had, used the shit for a freaking door post to hold open his door. He spent his whole life as a pauper, moved somewhere and died a peasant. The whole time he was a mother priest, had no clue. That is the average. I'll keep it on. In fact, shit, that's damn near everybody I know. Most people. Not you beautiful, high vibrational individuals. Them other Negroes. The average Negro don't know nothing. Your melanin is worth millions of dollars. Just your melanin. The dominant culture will pay. I told you guys about no black person who's ever died with their pineal gland. Or should I say is buried with it. You should ask yourself, where does it go? Why? Go to a funeral home, ask the mortician or the guy that prepares the body, what do they do with the pineal gland of every alkebulan after death? You should ask yourself, why do the dominant culture need your pineal gland? This is the shit that I do all day. I ain't got time to watch Love and Hip Hop, man. I'm behind schedule. Shit, I supposed to have been a billionaire 20 years ago. So I don't have time to play. So the life management system, we're taking this shit global. I tell you guys at the next roundtable meeting, I need ambassadors. I need recruiters. And I need amulets. Now, need is the wrong word. The correct word is have. I already got it, so I'm just vibrating. I'm just drawing the vibrational equivalents that are, in order that understand and see my worth and value and the worth and value inside of the self. The only thing I'm telling you is somebody, number one, they handled you the wrong way. Once I handle you the wrong way, then I can control you. Once I control you, then I can wipe you. That's what happened to me. It happened to you too. That's why you're here. You don't remember your prior existence with the Father. So you can't be on this call and have the full faculties of all of the languages. In other words, your DNA is all the way turned on. That's what we're doing right now, is we're turning back on what the devil, Lucifer, and remember the devil and Lucifer is just a vibration that says the image in your head is not the image that is embedded in your bread. Money is just momentum. That's all it is. Now, I got to say this again really slow, because some people think like making money is hard and blah, blah, blah. Nobody needs nobody. We are all gods and goddesses. Stop playing. But we don't know those. So your brain got wiped, so like mine did. My memory is just being restored a little bit at a time every day. That's why I don't got time to play. Because money is just momentum. And the way that we develop momentum. In the Old Testament, in Proverbs, it says that men, means, and resources. I wrote that book when I was homeless. The title of the book is Ultimate Secret to Being Rich. The word rich in the Bible means men, means, and resources. It don't say shit about paper, things, and ideals. So we think money is paper, cars, houses, and ideals. Those are the three levels of poverty. But they gave us poverty and then they took our money. So money is men. That means people. Means, that means a step plan. Resources, that means to return to source. Now I gotta say this shit's getting really slow. Because right now you think money is the shit that they give you in exchange for labor. That's Lucifer. That's low vibrational thinking. No, it ain't better than nothing. Let's keep it real. But poor, rich wealth is just paper, things, and ideals. So on this planet, that's the only thing that's talked about. But very few people talk about, again, what light and money is. Because money, light, abundance, they're all the same. Now remember, you have to be in a state of toxic shame in order for you to experience emotional drain. Emotional drain means that, as I said at the beginning of the show, you settled for Lucifer's less instead of elevating to God's best. Now, before you blame the white man, Negro, it's your fault. You settle. Anybody tell you to settle for that shit? Nobody told me to settle. I settled too, just like you. I know I've been disrespected. I know, I was hanging out with people that didn't see my worth and value. But I liked it. Why? Since you've been getting disrespected your whole life, we actually think that negative is positive and positive is negative. This is the craziest shit thing. But the psychological effects of Willie Lynch. We're suffering from the psychological effects of slavery. We had worth and value. They gave us a Bible and they took our land. So I understand why you are operating in a land where you're not able, because Cain slew Abel in the garden. You are in a place, you were placed in a place of abundance. The Bible says that Jesus is a good shepherd. He stands at the gate, and you go in and out, and you find green pastures. Boo-boo, that's money. You cannot be broke. It's impossible unless you settle for Lucifer's less instead of elevating to God's best. So the billion-dollar question is, how do you elevate to God's best? Well, you need the language of life. You need to be a member of my own secret society. Now, I decided to use the word secret society because it's going to piss off a lot of people. And then people are going to be like, I'm going to get more comments like I'm getting now on my TikTok channel. Well, I'm used to that because you got to remember, I don't give a shit about what other people think. Momentum is a force or speed of movement. The thing I like about the word momentum is this word. Let me pull it up for you.
Impetus.
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 You know how it sounds really close to impotent? So, when you are impotent, that means that you are not
Impetus.
impetus. Look how phonetically this is Lucifer at his best. Because Lucifer is a god of phonics. He loves using frequencies, waves, and vibrations. He is because the Bible says be still and know. Still means a being state. That means still means S-T-E-E-L and S-T-I-L-L. Lucifer threw in S-T-E-A-L. So which one is it? There's three words that are all phonetically the same. That's Lucifer. He, she, it is a freaking god. The dude or the dudette is a genius. Because the word genius means tutelary demon. Now, when I speak, I spell. Speaking and spelling is saying. Saying is seance. I am saying, I am seancing. Seance means to communicate with a spirit. Unfortunately, there's a plethora of spirits. And most alchemicals, they have the wrong damn spirit. What is the spirit they got? They got Lucifer's less, which is what we call darkness. We call it fun, fighting, and effing. We also call it money, which is mammon. Mammon is paper. Mammon is things. Mammon is ideals. Throw all that shit away. You need to be an electrical magnetic body. When your ass show up on the scene, niggas should be like, oh shit, what the hell is this? Ladies, when you walk in the room, every other woman should be pissed off that your ass showed up. Because they know that they man really want to be with you. But he gonna act like, you know, he gonna act like he ain't looking at your ass when you walk by. Because he gonna look at his wife or his significant other. But when he gets a chance, trust and believe, he's gonna take a glance. That's God's best. Don't settle for less. You should operate. You should elevate in God's best. Remember, it doesn't have shit to do with anyone else. It has to do with you being God's impetus on earth. That's you. So what we are establishing is the society of impetus, where everybody is supreme. Ladies are embodying the 7 S's. Men, you should be embodying the 7 C's. Men, are you ready to sell the 7 C's? Got any brothers who are ready to join me as we sell the 7 C's? Ladies, you should be the 7 S's. That's light. So when you speak, you should speak as one who has authority. The shit should mold mass and matter. It's like when you open your mouth, your language activates light. The word language, money, frequency, wave, vibration, it is a moving force. It is an impulse and a stimulus. That's what I'm doing. So it is moving, or it is causality of motion. Ladies, you should cause motion everywhere you go. Men, we should be in a disposition of motion everywhere that we go. That means that my brain, not my hands or my feet, is the impulse. It's the force, the impulse, and the stimulus. So let's break down and give you an introduction to the language of light, so you can get rid of the light keeper. Right now, your light is being kept by some reverend, some doctor, or some bishop. Ladies, right now your light is probably being kept by your husband. Now, he means good, ladies, but remember when I talked about the definition of unconditional love. The definition of unconditional love is sand in a closed fist versus sand in an open fist. If you have sand and your fist is closed tight and you squeeze him to hold on, my brother, your blessing is coming. Hold on. You are losing little pieces of grains of sand through the crevices and cracks in your hand. That's the current definition of love, control. Your mind. That's why I need a contract. I need a marriage, and I need a ring. I am the Lord of Rings. I'm going to give you a ring that means ownership. It's like the same thing as putting a brand. You my slave, nickel. Get your ass up, cook me some breakfast, wash some damn dishes, be my laundry done by 8. That's the average relationship. Not this nigga. Your hand should be open. And the sand stays and remains in the palm of your hand. Because you are creating an environment of unconditional love where the sand feels safe and secure and doesn't remain in your hand. The moment that environment becomes unstable, start to shake. It turns over. It leans to the left or to the right. The sand falls out of the hand. But it's not because of the sand. It's because of the unstable hand. So men, get your shit together. You should be stable, bruh. Your shit's unstable. Your sand is going to slip out of your hand. Don't be mad if your sand slides over into somebody else's hand, bruh. It ain't the sand. It's the hand. But men ain't stupid, ladies. We know how to con the sand into believing that it's the sand and not the hand. Your job, ladies, is to understand the hand and to know that you are the sand. How many grains of sand is there on a beach? And then, how many beaches are there on the planet? Now, if you could go to one beach and count all of the grains of sand on one beach, just one, you would just barely have began to understand the power that's inside of God's land. That's your glands. That's you. See, it says that, like God made Eve. Now, we all know that Lilith was there way before Eve. That's another study for another time. Because, like men, we don't want to know about Lilith. We just like the story about Eve because Eve was subject to Adam. Lilith, Lithuania, and lithium, pretty much they're all the same. Now, Lilith is a Judeo-Christian. Supposedly, Lilith was really Adam's first wife. Nobody likes to talk about Lilith because, supposedly out of revenge, Lilith had sex with Adam while he was sleeping, and she stole his seed. And with this seed, Lilith produced some frequencies, waves, and vibrations to I'm going to use the word attack, fight, go against, source. That's the way the story is told. Remember, the story usually is wrote by winners of wars. Because Lilith is always painted out to be the bad frequency, the bad woman. Supposedly, she's the queen of hell, some people say. The wife of Lucifer. Well, I thought she was the wife of Adam. And it's a very interesting read if you get into studying Lilith. It's the demonization of the 7 S's. That's why no woman wants to embody that. No woman, I know y'all are out there, ladies. It's hard to find them. Hard to find ladies that, or because Lilith was a amulet and an incantation. Lilith contained the powers of the winged spirit. I don't know if y'all understand. So when we talk about the frequency and the ways of vibration, Lilith embodies this power, this frequency, this wave that means winds of spirit, a wind of spirit. She's the wind of the spirit. Now, once you start to go into and get past all of the fluff and get to over and understanding, this is the 7 frequencies that I talk about all the time, that in order for a woman to be a supreme goddess, she must be comfortable embodying, becoming the electrical magnetic body. So that's money. So that's why a lot of women, all women who have money, embody those 7 S's. Most of them don't know it. But if you look at women who embody, like take Rihanna, for example. I don't know enough about Rihanna, but let's say old girl, Russell Wilson's wife. I forgot her name, but you got what I'm talking about. So all of these women embody those 7 S's. And once you understand how to embody these 7, that means you activate your electricity and your Sierra. That's what thank you. So, Sierra is another person. Notice even Beyonce. Most of them are very tall, usually light skinned. Why are they tall in stature? And why is the skin light, usually in color? Now, the esoteric reason behind that is that esoterically, what's really going on with all of the mixing is the frequency wave of the vibration that we call Caucasian, know that to exist on this planet, you got to have some melanin. And I prayed, pondered, researched this for years because I couldn't understand how I got conned into marrying outside of my race. Excuse me. Until I realized it wasn't really a con. Now, like my boy Dr. Umar Johnson, who's, really against it, and I was looking at it because I was asking my brothers. None of us, we all grew up together, and all of us married outside of our race. Except for my oldest brother, Glenn. He has 2 sons that are black son, S-U-N. Now, the black sun is really, the sun we got right now is artificial. The real sun is black. You go to Google and type in the black sun, or black hole sun. Because remember, I did a whole show on the black hole sun. Now, that's a whole other study for another time. But that's just represent, now, a black hole is really the mitochondrial DNA, which represents what we call the black woman, or the mitochondria Eve. So, if a gene is recessive, which according to science, don't get mad at me, do the research, according to science, the white gene is recessive. That means it cannot produce after its own kind. That means it's going to extinct unless it can intermingle with a gene that's from mitochondria Eve. So source is the benevolent cost cases, in order to save their genetic expression, is intermingling with God or the goddesses on the planet. That's the reason why we have what we call light skin. Or, all of the other frequency waves and vibrations that are not, whether we're talking about, like the black man, the red man, the blue man, all of the other frequencies. So what are you saying? That all I'm simply expressing to you today is, when we're talking about light, we're talking about land, goo, age. So the word land, goo, age means God of war in the ancient text. So language is being used by light to establish linear momentum. Let me say it again slowly. This is like big picture. This is beyond, you can't go to the hood and talk to the Negroes who watch Love and Hip Hop and the basketball wives, and that's how they spend, S-P-I-N, their time. So once you understand the impulse and the propulsion, or the thrust, if you want to use that term, the physics behind the body's mass and its velocity and philosophy. So it's V and F, V-E-L, and then P-H-I-L. A whole another study for another time. That's all established by C moment. So it's the letter C, it's the word C, S-E-E, and the word C, S-E-A. So I got to take the C, then I got to be able to see to control the C. That's money. Most women and men, especially black, don't know nothing about C, the letter C. Now, Father, sister, moms, and your people. Every letter, and I put this inside of the book, and you can look this up inside of your, everybody has this inside of your Dear Connect report. I break down every letter of the alphabet, and I give you the esoteric meaning of each letter. Now, if you didn't read that shit, it ain't on me. The blood's on your hands now. Especially if your name starts with a C, or an A, or an S. That's in the book. Spiritually speaking, the letter C symbolizes the Word of God. It symbolizes riches. It symbolizes communication. More importantly, it symbolizes Christ in the form of the crest. Every family has a family crest. Your family got one too. That I'm trying to help. This is the language of life. This is what we're doing going into 2023. So what I'm doing, and I want to take as many people with me who want to go. Most people, they don't want to go. Why? It takes responsibility. You got to respond to the ability. It means you got to be your own God, your own doctor, your own lawyer. You are a single standing column of waves. You don't need shit from nobody. People can pull alongside of you, alongside of you. Can't nobody lead you. Can't nobody push you. They can only walk hand in hand with you. So you need your vibrational equivalent. You can't lead nobody. How can one God lead another God? You need your own formula. You need your own formula. You need your own F-O-R-F-M-U-L-A. This is formula. This is for your money. This is your money. I got my money. Where's your money? Nobody needs. Everybody, we have been given everything that we need. So once you can establish the letter C, the element for C is air. The astrological sign is Gemini. C is the Hebrew camel, C-A-M-E-L, like a camel. It means world riches. It means the ability to be creatively, let me rephrase that. It means the 7 C's that we talk about that gives you the clarity of your circle and or your cycle that brings about the consciousness of your competency. So that way you have certainty. You just know shit. Because you know it, you don't give a mother about nobody else who don't or who doubt it. You know. So that's why you grow. That brings confidence. That gives you that disposition that says, I wish they mother would. Not today, boo-boo. Or that disposition that says, boo-boo, I'm the one. That creates chemistry in the body. That activates your creativity. That creativity creates currency. That's C. C means the currency of the crest. Remember, the crest toss means you are a whoop-ass of God. You're a weapon. You smoke demons and devils on the regular. So every day you wake up, when every other Negro is running from the devil, you looking for that mother. You become a demon hunter. Demons are dispositions that makes you settle for less. So every time you see Lucifer's less, you whoop ass and you just cause a mess. Because now you are the electrical, you are a embodiment of God on earth. Do you know what happens when you become an embodiment? Well, you become a C or a G. And the esoteric meaning, that means terrestrial law. So that means you become a symbol of the Holy Trinity of will, wisdom, and love. Will, wisdom, and love. C is the letter for Christ. Stands for Christ consciousness. That's why I got the Christ consciousness. That Facebook group I got called Christ consciousness, that's the science. That's the metaphysics behind Christ consciousness. Because C symbolizes the word of Christ, the word of God. Now, once you understand that C is pronounced C as in S-E-E, then that is the shape of the crescent moon where we get Islam, which just gives you the sound of the word C, S-E-A as in ocean, which stands for sub and unconscious. It also gives you the sound of the word C as in the pineal gland in the third eye. But more importantly, it gives you the word C, S-E-E, is for Amon's horn. Now, you guys know that the Bible, what part of the Bible? Body. So what part of the body of the human anatomy is called a seahorse? Seahorse. There's a specific part in your brain that's referred to as the seahorse. That is called, again, you can Google it, what part of the human anatomy is called seahorse? The answer, hippocampus. So the hippocampus is the part of the brain involved in mem or re. So it's mem or return. You got to be a mem or you got to return. That's what the word memory means. So the word mem or return, it looks exactly like a seahorse. It is hippocampus. So the body part that looks like a seahorse in the Bible, which is referred to the Bible, the body, in Greek, it means monster of the sea. Well, we get the word Leviathan, seahorse. So in your brain right now is something that looks like a seahorse. And this seahorse controls your memories. And the reason that the hippocampus is named for that is because of its ability to be able to, remember, I have to wipe, I meaning the dark side. Because you may become a mem. Now, we're talking about momentum. We should talk about money. We should talk about momentum because that's the language of light. Momentum, money is activated when you speak from a place of I am, I can, I have. When you say that, that's that trinity that oscillates and it transports you out of space-time. Now you're operating in eternity. So now remember, this is an introduction to what we're going to be breaking down here starting with the next pay-per-view class where we get into a mem. It is a cultural item that is transmitted by repetition and replication. Mem is the biological transmission of the gene. I just read that from dictionary.com. Mem. M-E-M-E. Me. So R-E, me, ver. The word remember, it means to return to your previous membership. You had a prior existence with the Father, which was an individual expression of the Father. Your prior existence was you were a part of the Godhead, if you will. That word means imitate, copy. It means the artistic representation. The word, again, mem, means you're supposed to imitate God. So what is everybody's problem on earth? We are not imitating God. Who are we imitating then? A lesser God. Who's the lesser God? Coping mechanism. Who's the coping mechanism? Well, I cannot elevate to God's best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to settle for Lucifer's less. We all did it. Let's be honest. Come on, man. Let's just stop playing. We can all be honest in this. Nobody's going to point fingers at you, bro. Nobody's going to point. So the first thing is until you acknowledge where you are right now is Lucifer's left. Ain't nothing wrong with it. We didn't know that we could be God. We were told we were supposed to pray to God. Some of you beautiful, muscle-bound Alcibiades, listen to me right now. That little voice in your head right now saying, I don't know. He kind of lost me back there about 10 minutes ago. Some of you guys right now, I'm going to say this around my brothers and sisters, and I watch how they get real nervous when I say, I don't pray to God, I pray as God. Oh, damn, look at the time, bro. Shit, I got to go, man. And then they just leave. Or I can pick up their energy. If we're in a group call, now I love my brothers and sisters, y'all. I'm just using it as an example. I could be anybody. I don't really hang out with people. Because it's like Ghostbusters. Who I'm going to call? Like for real. Like when my daughter died, who's I going to call? And I don't say that as an insult. I say that as an acknowledgement of life. Because remember, gods are all knowing, all power, all present, all simple, and all love. All at the same time. As a god or goddess, you're all knowing. So can't shit happen to you? Like I was saying yesterday, my enemies I invite them within. Why? Why do I embrace my enemies? Because your enemy is what? What is an enemy? Like an enemy is somebody that what? They're just not your vibrational equivalent. That's all. But what does that mean though? That means that they just under a different spell than you. See, how you think about how you think determines how you think. Let me say it again in English. This is the language of light. So every day I wake up, I'm talking to you right now, and I'm analyzing myself. Like, did I say that right? So I have 3 frequencies that are one. I have past, present, and future. So all 3 of me is analyzing what I'm saying to you. My higher self, my present self, and my future self are all here talking to you. My head, my heart, and my gut are all here present. My job is to make sure that my head, my heart, and my gut, we're all saying the same shit. That way, otherwise, somebody's going to pick up something like, damn, I don't know, this nigga, is he trying to call me? He trying to get my money? What's he trying to do? So you're going to pick up like, something's off. I got to go disconnect. I'm going to get my Popeye's chicken sandwich. I'm going to go back to watching Love and Hip Hop because the Negroes ain't saying shit that I can relate to. So my job is to be authentic and be fake. But that means I got to be real myself. Because if I get thirsty, what happens? You pick it up. If I disconnect, you pick it up. If I come across needy, you pick that up. If I come across distant, you pick that up. So I got to be authentic. So do you. That's money. People will follow anybody who's real because nobody's real. Very few people actually can see their true, all three of themselves and how they look and change it to God. Everything starts with numbers and letters because numbers and letters are sigils and spells. So I am not going to cast because it's called grammar casting. That's what I'm doing right now. Right now I'm casting a spell. That spell can be dark magic or white magic, depending on my intent. So when I started today's show, I set my intent. My intent is not to hurt, harm, or defraud. But I don't care about that because I don't have that frequency. Thankfully, I'm not born with that. Like I tell you guys, I got to force myself to be evil. I don't have it. I wish I did. I'm going to be honest with you. I wish I did because I would have lost all those fights when I was little. I wouldn't have had to go through the experience of getting my ass whooped to learn how to defend myself. I would pick up an evil vibe, and before the person got close enough, I would have hit that fool in the head with a brick. But to me, I was a nice guy. I'm still a nice guy. I take people at face value until they piss on me and try to convince me that it's rain. And I'm like, no, Negro, that's not rain. I smelled rain before. It don't smell like that. So then I say, keep pissing, I'm going to get out the way. So now I avoid conflict. But if you follow me home, if you back me up in a corner, okay, then it's only popping. But the point is, I know myself now. Before I didn't. Before I didn't know my strengths and my weaknesses. Before I didn't know my flaws. Before I didn't know the dark side of the six. I just knew the positive. And I just loved me for me. And I thought everybody loved me. Dr. Span, I didn't know that there's some people, they don't like sixes. So I was a people pleaser. I was kissing everybody's ass. Why? I wanted to be liked. Why? That's the dark side of the sex. Because I am a lover of details. God made me that way. But I didn't like that. Because a lot of people, they don't like details. They just like big picture. Well, I'm little picture. So I got to be comfortable being little picture. I don't like noticing if you got a pimple on your left butt cheek. Everybody else gonna know, like, damn, she got a big ass. Me, I'll be like, damn, she got a pimple on her big ass. Totally different. Everybody else is looking at the ass. I'm looking at the pimple on the ass. Now, you got to know this about yourself. Because guess what? You're going to run up against somebody who just noticed the bigness, the thickness of it. Me, I'm going to notice the details. Every little dimple, there's a dimple on the right one that you don't got on the left one. Some people like the details. Some people don't because you're a perfectionist. So how do people make me feel that a big picture and I'm little picture? I've been, hey man, where did you see that pimple? And they be like, what pimple? And they, well, she didn't have no pimple. I mean, no, I think she didn't know. So they're going to make me second guess me. And I'm going to be like, damn, did she have a pimple? Shit, just like he did Eve. So did God really say? That's all the devil did. That's Lucifer. Lucifer makes you question you. Lucifer is the original gaslighter. That fool is good. He'll make your ass believe you crazy. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to swallow that shit. I already know. I already did it. I drank the purple Kool-Aid, bruh, a plethora of times. And I was on the path. Brothers and sisters, there's three options for you today. You can continue down your psychopath. For some of you higher vibrational alkylons, you can continue down the social path. That was me. I was very social. Some of you guys are very psycho. Y'all 11, y'all know what I'm talking about. Stop playing. I'm not going to say no names. Some of y'all be levels that I'm talking about. Then there was people, remember, like me. I embodied both. Not only was I a sociopath, I was a psychopath because I had bipolar disorder. So my high highs, I was very social. But during my low lows, I was very psycho. So depending on which Willie, whether you bust into Willie, Will, or William, woo-wee, all three of us, Now, I could bring a couple of my exes on there. I could do my first wife on it. She'll break it down for you. I could bring my kids on there. They'll say, yeah, we love our daddy, but daddy go crazy as hell. I was just joking around with them earlier this morning. So what did I learn how to do? Well, I ain't trying to change. I'm just going to be me. But now, I'm not a social or a psycho. I'm a life. Now I got my life path. That's why I do life path reports. The only way for you to get out of your psychopathic or sociopathic behaviors is to immerse your brain 24/7, 365 in your life path. That's the language of life. So now I don't depend upon anyone else to gaslight me. I gaslight myself. Thank you. Now, hey, let's be real though. If somebody pulls on side of me and say, hey, Doc, you the bee's knees, hey, thank you. I ain't gonna run them off. But am I sitting around here depressed unless somebody blow smoke up my ass? No, I am not. Guess what? I'm gonna grind and shine, boo-boo. Because I'm gonna gaslight myself. That's the light path. You see, brothers and sisters, your momentum is determined by you. Your success is determined by you. Your failures are determined by you. Everything that happens to you is ultimately caused by you. As I said today, and I say all the time, everything that happened in my life, I had a part to play in it. When my daughter died, I immediately knew, damn, I fucked up. I remember telling myself, like, you thought you had more time, didn't you, Negro? You around here freaking playing church. Your daughter got freaking tired of waiting on your black ass, and so she's gone. Who you gonna blame now? See, a lot of people, you can't stand in the circle of God. Most people cannot stand in the company of God. See means the ability to stand in the company of God. I'm building the company of God. Ain't gonna be no demons, no damn peasants in this mother. We're gonna run y'all asses out with truth. Truth is like a line. This is the circle of the council of God. So yes, when I have my round table meeting, we will all meet physically in person. And we're going to sit in the round table. Ain't nobody at the head of the table because there ain't no damn head. This round table is going to be the circle of gods and goddesses. There will be no low vibration or impotent mother peeps in this circle. The circle of gods, that's what the C stands for. That's the language of life that's established by your voice, your frequency, your waves, and your vibration. Only you can be the spiritual facilitator of hearing, which is the ability for you to hear the sounds of silence, which is the voice of God that vibrates on a higher level where there is no devil. That is the sound of silence that brings about the creativity and the unchangeability, which activates the confidence and the communication, which brings about the competence, certainty, competence, chemistry, and C of currency. That's you. See, most people's energy is scattered instead of concentrated. Let me say it again. Most people's energy, when I see a young black man, you know what I see? I see a Negro who's scattering his seed everywhere. Concentrate that shit, brother. He can't. Why? The Negro got too many distractions. That's why I feel sorry for the young black men. They can't see straight. They looking all around. They got video games in the palm of their hands. They got access to porn 24/7. 13 years old. Do you know what would have happened to me if you gave me a cell phone when I was 13? Man, are you serious? I have unlimited access 24/7, 365. I can set up an Only Friends page. Nobody knows how old I am. Do y'all know who y'all children are talking to on Snapchat? I don't think so. That was a 60-plus-year-old talking to my daughter I know when she was like 13. Pictures, everything. I could tell by the eloquency of his love bombing and gaslighting that only an adult. Plus, I used to be a cop too, so that does help. Anyway, I fished this nigga out. He was posting pictures of his son, but he was interacting with middle school kids because he was a little closet pedophile. Now, I ain't mad at him because he got, remember, he settled for Lucifer's less instead of elevating for God's best. That's how he chose to settle. Some of y'all got an addiction too. Stop playing. Some of y'all might be, spending $600 a week on puff, puff, pass. Some of us are hooked on sugar. Some of us are hooked on, we all got an issue. The point is for you to establish the language that destroys darkness. How do we destroy darkness? Focus on the light. Don't fight the dark. Don't fight the dark. You're going to lose. What do? Feed the light. How do we feed the light, Doc? How do we feed the light? Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. Let's wrap this up really quickly. Proverbs 4:7. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will preserve you. Love her, and she will guard you. Let me say it again. I said 7 and 6. Proverbs 4:6. Proverbs 4:6. Do not forsake wisdom. Wisdom is always feminine. Female power. That is the goddess power. I keep telling you, ladies, you got to step your game up. Men can't do jack shit. Without behind every great man is a greater woman. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will preserve you. Love her, and she will guard you. Wisdom is supreme. Who's supreme, ladies? Who's supreme? Where are the supreme goddesses? That is the language of life. Wisdom is supreme. So acquire wisdom. And whatever you may acquire, gain understanding. Praise her, and she will exalt you. If you embrace her, she will honor you. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. The society of light is the society of feminine expression. It's the power of wisdom. Wisdom is Sophia. Sophia is the language of light. Sophia is the feminine expression. That's why all religions are masculine. There's only consonants in all of the ancient texts because consonants represents Constantine, who took the place of the constellations. So my brothers and my sisters, again, this is just the introduction. This is like about a 60-hour course. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to spend 30 days going through the language of light to establish, again, elevating to God's best so we can all stop settling for Lucifer's less. Where do we start? We start with a proper self-image. That proper self-image is found only in the council or circle of gods. That council, that circle, that quote-unquote God is you. You are the generator. You are the operator. You are the director of your own sheep, your own product, your own pneuma. It is your job not to forsake. It is your job to preserve. It is your job to love. It is your job to guard. If you do that, you will acquire. And if you acquire, you will gain, I like to use the word overstanding, we do not like, what we do not understand. Everybody must get wisdom, get understanding, and do not forget. Remember, you are an individual expression of God on earth. Walk in your power. This is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master Teacher 33. I'm at the top, grinding and shining. We'll see everybody later on tonight. God bless.